Hey, so I need to tell you about something I found, and I know how this sounds. Okay, I know it sounds crazy, but just hear me out. About 3 months ago, I was working as a ranger. Not going to say which park, because honestly, I still do not know if I should be talking about this, but it is one of the big ones. The kind tourists flock to every summer, millions of visitors a year. And there is a part of it you have never heard about. They call it Section 4. It started when I found the memo. I was not supposed to see it, that is important. I was covering a shift in the main office, filing incident reports, boring stuff. And I knocked over a stack of folders. Papers went everywhere. Most of it was normal. Bear sightings, trail maintenance schedules, visitor complaints about cell phone reception. But one page was different. It was stamped internal, only do not file. The header said Section 4 Protocol Update, Supervisor Level Access Required. I almost put it back, almost. But I read the first line and I could not stop. Effective immediately, all ranger patrols are prohibited from entering the Section 4 boundary zone. This is not a suggestion. Compasses are unreliable in this area. Ground acoustic anomaly persists. Do not investigate hollow sounds. Do not approach the clearing. I read it 3 times. What clearing? What hollow sounds? I had been working there for 2 years and never heard anyone mention Section 4. I pulled out the park map from my desk, traced the boundaries with my finger. Sections 1, 2, 3. Then nothing. The area where Section 4 should be was just marked as Restricted Geological Study Zone. 10 miles of forest, right in the middle of the park. And nobody talked about it. I asked my supervisor about it the next day. Casual, like I was just curious. Hey, what is up with that restricted zone on the east side? The geological study area. He did not even look up from his coffee. Do not worry about it. It is not on any public trails. Just some unstable ground. We keep people out for safety. What kind of unstable? The kind where you do not ask questions. He looked at me then. Really looked at me. We clear? I nodded. Yeah, clear. But I was not clear. Not even close. That night I went online, searched every combination I could think of. Section 4, plus the park name, restricted zone, and geological anomaly, hollow ground and compass malfunction. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. But then I found a forum, one of those weird conspiracy sites where people post about Bigfoot and UFOs. Usually I avoid that stuff, but there was a thread from 6 years ago titled, "Has anyone hiked the dead zone?" The original post was deleted, but there were replies. One person wrote, "Tried to find it last summer. Compass went crazy about 2 miles in, started spinning, gave up, turned back. My dog would not go past a certain point. Just sat down and whined. Never seen her do that before." And then one that made my skin crawl. "The ground sounds wrong there, like drumming on a hollow surface, like there is empty space underneath. I should have stopped there, should have left it alone. But you know how it is when something gets under your skin, when you know there is a secret and everyone is pretending there is not." I checked the ranger patrol schedule. Found a day when I had a solo shift in the northern trails. Section 4 was southeast, but I could get there if I hiked off route. No one would know. I packed light. Water, compass, GPS unit. First aid kit. Told my roommate I was doing trail maintenance and would be back by dark. The hike to the boundary took about an hour. Normal forest, birds singing, squirrels. All the usual stuff. Then I crossed an old service road, barely visible anymore, and everything changed. The birds stopped, not gradually, all at once, like someone hit a mute button. I stopped walking and listened. Nothing, complete silence. No wind in the trees, no insects, just nothing. I checked my compass. The needle was pointing southeast, toward the center of Section 4. I turned 90 degrees. The needle did not move. Still southeast. I turned completely around. Needle still pointing the same direction. My GPS was working fine. Showed my location, but the compass was locked on one point. I know I should have turned back right then. That is what you are thinking, right? And you are right. But I did not. The forest got denser, darker. The trees were weird grown in strange angles, twisted, not like disease, more like they were trying to lean away from something. About 20 minutes in, I stepped on the ground and heard it. A hollow sound, like knocking on a wooden floor instead of dirt. I stepped again. Same sound. Knocked my knuckles against a tree trunk, solid thud. Stamped my foot on the ground, hollow boom. I knelt down and brushed away the pine needles. The soil looked normal, felt normal. But when I pressed down, it gave slightly, and the sound echoed, like there was a chamber underneath. I stood up fast. My heart was pounding. That is when I noticed the trees. They were all leaning, every single one, tilted at the same angle, all pointing away from somewhere ahead of me. I pulled out my phone to take a picture. No signal, obviously. But the camera worked. I took a photo of the tilted trees. The image came out weird, blurry, static lines across it. I tried again. Same thing. I kept walking. The hollow sound got louder with each step, more resonant, and I started to feel it in my chest, a vibration, subtle but there. Then I found the markers, old fence posts, metal rusted almost through, in a perfect circle, maybe 50 feet in diameter. Most of them had fallen over, but enough were standing that I could see the pattern. And inside the circle was the clearing. It was perfectly round, no trees, no plants, just bare dirt, completely flat, like it had been scraped clean. But here is the thing. The dirt was not settled. It was loose, fresh-looking, like someone had just tilled it. In the exact center was a hole, not a big hole, maybe a foot across, but deep. I could not see the bottom. I walked to the edge of the clearing, but did not step in. Something about it felt wrong, like crossing a threshold I could not come back from. I picked up a rock and tossed it toward the hole. It did not make a sound. I am serious. The rock fell into the hole, and I heard nothing, no impact, no echo. I threw a bigger rock. Same thing. It disappeared into the hole without a sound. My hands were shaking. I backed away from the clearing, and that is when I heard the sound, not from the hole, from underneath me, from all around. A low hum, deep, felt more than heard, like a bass note held forever, and the ground started to vibrate, slightly, like standing on a speaker. Light land. I do not remember deciding to run. I just did. Crashed through the forest, branches hitting my face, not caring about the trail or direction. The compass in my hand was spinning wildly, the needle just rotating faster and faster. I ran until the hollow sound under my feet stopped, until the vibration faded, until I heard birds again. Then I stopped and threw up. I went back to the office early the next morning. The memo was gone. I checked the whole filing system. Nothing, like it never existed. But I knew what I had read, and I knew what I had seen. I started asking around, careful, indirect, talked to the older rangers, the ones who had been there 20, 30 years. Most of them shut down the conversation immediately. But one guy, Tom, he had been there 35 years, was retiring in a month. I caught him alone and asked straight up, "What is in Section 4? He looked at me for a long time. Then he said, "You went there, did you not?" I nodded. "You see the clearing?" "Yeah," he sighed. "How deep you think this park is? The soil?" "I do not know. Few hundred feet to bedrock?" That is what they tell people. But in Section 4, they did ground-penetrating radar back in the 70s. Went down 3,000 feet. Could not find the bottom. I stared at him. "That is impossible." "Yeah, that is what they said too. So they tried drilling. Got down about 800 feet, and the drill bit just dropped, fell into empty space. They pulled it up and tried again in a different spot. Same thing. There is something under there, a cavity, a void. Huge." Tom shrugged. "Above my pay grade, above the pay grade of everyone. All I know is the policy, stay out, Do not talk about it. Do not let visitors near it. What about the hole in the clearing? His face went pale. That is new. That was not there when I was last out that way, and that was 15 years ago. They sealed the area off after the incident. What incident? He shook his head. Cannot talk about that. Signed an NDA. But I will tell you this. 3 Rangers went into Section 4 in 2009. Only 2 came back, and the 2 who made it out quit within a week. 1 moved to Alaska. The other, I heard, had a breakdown. A month went by. I was doing a perimeter check, miles from Section 4, and I found something weird. A backpack, expensive hiking gear, abandoned on the trail. I opened it. There was a wallet inside. Driver license for a guy named Marcus Webb. Date on the license was from 2 months ago. I radioed it in. Dispatch came back. No missing persons report for that name. Checking visitor logs. Okay, we have a Marcus Webb, who signed in 6 weeks ago. Day hiker. Never signed out. Do we have his vehicle? Negative. No vehicle registered to his check-in. How is that possible? Unknown. I will escalate to a supervisor. The supervisor came on the radio. Cold. Ranger. What is your location? Leave the backpack where you found it. Return to base. We will handle it. I did not return to base. I took the backpack with me. Inside was a journal. The last entry was from the day Marcus signed in. It said, found the online forum about the dead zone. Could not find the original posts, but people keep talking about it. Compass is going crazy. Hollow ground. I have got to see it myself. Heading to Trailhead 7 tomorrow. If I do not update this in 48 hours, something went wrong. I went back to Section 4 one last time. The hole was bigger, 18 inches across now. I lowered 100 feet of rope, and it never hit bottom. Then, not like the rock hit ground, like something cut it, I pulled up the rope. The end was frayed, shredded, like it had been chewed. I heard something from deep in the hole, rising up, a sound like breathing, huge, slow, ancient. Whatever was down there, it was waking up. I barged into the office of the supervisor. There is something in Section 4, something alive, and it is getting closer to the surface. He held up a hand. Stop. Just stop. You went back to Section 4 after being explicitly told not to. Marcus Webb checked out safely 3 days after he signed in. He is fine. That is a lie. I found the backpack of the guy. I found the journal of Marcus. He leaned forward. I am keeping people safe. You know what happens if we tell the public there is an unexplained void under the park. Panic, lawsuits. The park gets shut down. People are disappearing. 1 ranger in 15 years, and he might have just gotten lost. What about the hole? It is getting bigger. For the first time, he looked worried. How much bigger? 18 inches across. I measured it, and something is down there. I heard it. He made a call. Yeah, it is me. We need to move up the timeline. The breach is expanding. I do not know, but we cannot wait until next quarter. Fine, I will handle it. He looked at me. You're being transferred, effective immediately. We have an opening in Yellowstone. You leave tomorrow. I transferred to Yellowstone. I did not have a choice. I went back one more time before I left to the boundary. The silence was deeper, heavier. And underneath it, if you really focused, you could hear that slow breathing sound, rising from deep underground. Getting closer. So that is the story of me. That is what I know about Section 4. I do not have proof anymore. I cannot tell you which park. All I can tell you is this. If you are ever hiking in a national park and the compass of you starts acting weird, if the ground sounds hollow under your feet, if the forest goes completely silent, turn around, get out, do not investigate, because there are places in this world where the ground is not as solid as we think, where there are voids beneath the surface, and sometimes those voids are not empty, they are just waiting.